Welcome to Yomikata, the way of reading. In today's video, we'll explore one of the most impactful personal finance books ever written, Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This book doesn't just offer tips about money, it shifts how you think about wealth, education, and the meaning of success. Through a story of two father figures, one rich, one poor, Kiyosaki teaches powerful lessons that schools never do. Whether you're in your 20s, 40s, or beyond, this book has something for you. So, settle in, and let's begin this journey into financial intelligence. Part 1. Two Dads, Two Mindsets. At the heart of Rich Dad Poor Dad is a simple but powerful comparison. Robert Kiyosaki grew up with two father figures. His biological father, whom he calls his poor dad, was well educated, held a secure government job, and valued traditional academic success. He believed in working hard, getting good grades, and climbing the corporate ladder. On the other hand, Robert's best friend's father, his rich dad, was a high school dropout who became a successful businessman and investor. He believed in financial education, entrepreneurship, and making money work for you. Throughout the book, Kiyosaki compares the beliefs and behaviors of these two men, one who struggled financially his whole life, and one who built lasting wealth. This contrast is the foundation of the book's wisdom. Part 2. The rich don't work for money. One of the first lessons Rich Dad teaches Robert is this: the rich don't work for money. They make money work for them. Poor Dad worked hard all his life for a steady paycheck, believing job security was the key to success. But Rich Dad taught that relying on a job puts you in a financially vulnerable position because someone else controls your income. Instead of chasing higher salaries, Rich Dad advised building assets, things that generate money even when you're not working. The wealthy, he said, focus on cash flow, money coming in without their direct involvement. That mindset shift, from earning to owning, is what separates financial freedom from financial dependence. Part 3. Understanding assets and liabilities. This leads us to one of the most practical teachings in the book, the difference between assets and liabilities. According to Kiyosaki, the rich buy assets. The poor and middle class often buy liabilities, thinking they're assets. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out. For example, a rental property that earns you passive income each month is an asset. A fancy car with monthly payments and maintenance costs is a liability. Interestingly, many people think their house is their greatest asset. But unless that house is generating income, like through renting, it's actually costing money. Mortgage, taxes, repairs. Kiyosaki urges us to simplify our financial thinking. Ask yourself, does this make me money or cost me money? Build your life around assets, and wealth follows. Part 4. Why financial education matters. Another theme that runs deep in Rich Dad Poor Dad is the failure of traditional education to teach financial literacy. Schools teach how to memorize, how to take tests, and how to follow rules, but not how to manage money. Poor Dad believed in academic degrees. Rich Dad believed in financial education, understanding money, investing, risk, and cash flow. Kiyosaki argues that your greatest wealth-building tool isn't your job or salary, it's your mind. A financially educated person can create wealth in almost any environment. Financial knowledge lets you see opportunities where others see obstacles. That's why, even if you didn't grow up learning about money, you can start now and completely transform your future. Part 5. The Rat Race. Most people fall into what Kiyosaki calls the rat race. They work hard, get paid, spend their money, and repeat month after month, year after year. They buy bigger houses and newer cars as their income grows, but so do their expenses. They believe working harder is the solution, but never break free from the cycle. The rat race is exhausting, and it's built on a belief that a job is the only way to earn. Rich Dad challenges this thinking. He teaches that the goal is not to work for money forever, but to create income streams that keep paying you, even when you're not working. Financial freedom comes not when you make a lot, but when your assets cover your expenses. That's the way out of the rat race. Part 6. Work to learn, not to earn. One of Rich Dad's most counterintuitive lessons is, work to learn, not to earn. While Poor Dad focused on job titles, promotions, and paychecks, Rich Dad focused on skills. He encouraged young Robert to take jobs that taught him how to sell, how to market, how to manage people, and how to understand money. even if they paid less. Why? Because the more skills you have, the more opportunities you can create. Most people stay stuck because they're afraid of looking foolish or starting at the bottom. But Kiyosaki reminds us, it's not about ego, it's about growth. Learn to think like an entrepreneur, not an employee. Part 7. The Power of Taking Risks. Another key idea is that the rich take calculated risks. Poor Dad avoided risk and believed in safety and stability. Rich Dad knew that wealth comes from understanding and managing risk, not avoiding it. Kiyosaki stresses the importance of building confidence through education and experience so that you can make smart financial decisions without fear. This doesn't mean gambling. It means learning how to evaluate deals, investments, and opportunities. The more you understand, the more empowered you are to make money grow, not by chance, but by choice. Part 8. Mindset over money. At its core, Rich Dad Poor Dad isn't just about money, it's about mindset. What you believe about money determines what you do with it. If you believe money is hard to get, you'll always chase it. If you believe it's abundant and learn how it works, you'll attract it. Rich Dad taught that fear, doubt, and cynicism are what stop most people, not lack of opportunity. The poor let emotions control their decisions. The rich develop emotional intelligence, they stay calm, they think long-term, and they focus on freedom over comfort. Part 9. Start small, but start. One of the most encouraging lessons from the book is that you don't need to be rich to start thinking like the rich. Start where you are. Read books. Track your expenses. Start a side hustle. Invest in a small asset, like stocks, digital products, or a tiny real estate deal. Don't wait for perfection. Start building your financial intelligence today, and let it compound over time, just like interest. Rich Dad Poor Dad is not a get-rich-quick book. It's a change the way you think book. It challenges the idea that working harder is always the answer, and instead teaches you to work smarter, by building assets, increasing financial intelligence, and escaping the paycheck-to-paycheck trap. Whether you're a student, an employee, or even an entrepreneur, the lessons inside this book can change your path. The first step is awareness. The next is action. Thanks for reading with Yomikata, The Way of Reading. If you found value in this summary, consider subscribing, liking, and joining us on this journey through the world's most powerful books. Until next time, keep learning and keep building.